So we're here today with Teresa Kaviter, who's been here at Gene Simpson now about 20 years.
That's right.
And because it is the third anniversary of Miss Jean's passing, we just wanted to ask some of our long-term staff their memories about Miss Jean. So Teresa, go ahead and share.
Oh gosh, I have so many great memories of Miss Jean, and but what I loved the most was when she had such a great sense of humor, and Miss Jean was sassy and spunky, and she would talk about the early beginnings of when she first decided to get into this business and how she decided to start Gene Simpson. And I love it because she would talk about her Kelly days, and which I always thought it was kind of a coincidence that her name is Marge Jean Kelly Simpson, and Kelly was her middle name, and I always thought that was kind of interesting. I wondered if that had anything to do with her decision to start Kelly Girls franchise here. But she talks about the early days of Kelly Girls and how her interpretation of being a Kelly girl was completely different from what the clients were that would call her. It seems that they thought they were calling a place for girls that didn't operate dictation machines and typewriters. And so when she first started getting those phone calls, she decided, oh my gosh, I've got to roll up my sleeves. We got to change what people are thinking about this company. So the first thing she did is she got on the phone, she rounded up every preacher and pastor's wife she could find out there that would come to work as a Kelly girl. And this was going to be different because these ladies were actually going to be operating the typewriters and the dictation machines out there. So I thought, okay, well that was rather interesting. But the best story she tells is why she decided to start Gene Simpson. And what happened is Kelly's decided that they weren't going to pay her commissions and things. And it made her so angry when they decided to just all of a sudden revoke her franchise and tell her that she didn't earn all this and that they didn't need her anymore to run the office, that she decided to show them, yes, you do need me. So they took them to court, and I love that she talks about these gentlemen coming off the plane from New York and arriving with their three-piece suits and their leather briefcases, and how she and her attorney had rubber bands around their files and went to court, and how they won that court case. And I've often thought, wow, that had to be an amazing duel, between the Simpsons and these attorneys that came in from New York. But it's a great story because it made her so angry what they had done to her that that's the reason she started Gene Simpson Personnel, and at that time it was called Gene Simpson Temporaries. So that's how we all started. You know, she immediately needed recruitments of her own for her staff and reached out to her daughter, who was in Dallas at the time, doing very well, uh, selling, I think she was working copy machines, I think, if memory serves, if that's what Sandra was doing. And she called her and said, hey, come over here. I've decided to start my own company. And the rest is now history on that, because that was 45 years ago, about thereabouts. But anyways, that's one of my favorite stories about Miss Jean.
So tell us about some of the times that she would come into the office after she kind of officially retired and let Sandra completely take over the company.
Oh gosh, that was always funny too. Um, Whenever I came to work for Gene Simpson, the industrial building had already been built, but she and Bob had their office upstairs on the industrial side of our offices. And they would come. I mean, and they would check those floors to make sure there weren't scuff marks on them, and that we were all making sure that our shoes weren't creating those problems. And she just really had a lot of pride about this office, and making sure that we made a good representation in the community about our business. And of course, the number one thing that she said to me one day coming through here, she said, you know, the foundation of this company is based on one of my favorite scriptures. And I said, well, what is that? And I'll never forget, she said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I never forgot that. I always thought that was amazing, that that's what she felt in her heart, was all about doing unto others, you know, the right way. So,
And we maintain that still to this day. We do our best.
yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Well, anything else about Miss Jean that you would like to share?
Oh, I think we all miss her. She was just a joy to be around. She had the best sense of humor. She loved to laugh. That was always a given, and she had a lot of funny jokes and stories, you know, that she'd like to tell us. And there's some stories that about the bomb. Before we moved to this location, they had an office on Uri Drive, and there was a story she would tell about someone calling saying that they had planted a bomb somewhere close to her office, and what happened, the big hoopla about the bomb. And I just remember her talking about that one. And then about the gentleman who called, that his name was ASAP. ASAP called in. So and she would laugh about that one too. So yeah, she loved to laugh, and I think that's how she spent every day too. Is I think when she would come in here, is she knew she was helping others, but also, you know, it was a joy to be around her.
Well, thank you so much for sharing about Miss Jean. We all miss her, and just honor her today on this
Yep.
very special day.
That's exactly right.
Thank you, Teresa.